coalesced around as a team at New Silver is convenience. Technology enablement is great, right? But tech in itself is not the end all.
Yeah.
Technology, in some cases, could make things less convenient.
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hello, welcome back to the show. Excited to have Kirill Bensonoff on the show. Kirill, how are you doing today?
Hey, Todd, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Appreciate you being on the show. A little bit about Kirill. He's the co-founder and CEO, a fintech innovator of New Silver. And so if you've ever thought real estate lending is outdated, today's guest, Kirill here is going to prove you right and show you what they've created really at New Silver. And so, seasoned fintech entrepreneur, co-founder and CEO of New Silver, which is a technology-powered lender that helps real estate investors close faster, close smarter, and just a much better way. So he's built and exited multiple tech startups, pioneered blockchain, backed lending products, and runs a fund that serves modern investors. So with that said, Kirill, why don't you give our listeners maybe a bit more about your background, and then we'll dive into what you guys are doing.
Sure, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a immigrant to the United States. I came to the U.S. when I was 11 years old with my family. I had some relatives that lived here previously, and initially came to Connecticut. And my immediate family, kind of the way I got acclimated with business. I'd never thought of myself as a business person. I guess early in my years, I didn't have those kinds of aspirations. But my uncle was, a self-starter entrepreneur, and kind of gave me that bug pretty early on. Started my first company, quote unquote company, back when I was in college. It was a web hosting company, really small, but I think gave me a nice side income and gave me a lot of exposure to what business is like. I did a lot of stuff myself, had a couple of people helping me, had to, think outside the box and do all the stuff that I'm sure you all are doing every day. Um, yeah, then after that, kind of took the tech uh, angle in my education, some business, some technology, both, and then ended up working for a couple of corporations. I worked for IBM, and then ended up meeting my co-founder for the first, the first company, the first real company, I guess, um, which was at the time called computersupport.com. Now it's still around. It's called Stratus Point IT. It's a managed IT services company. So I, ran that for a bunch of years. We had some software that we built in-house, spun that out, and we formed a separate startup. Ran that for a little bit of time. Both were successfully acquired. And then, we're me and my longtime friend, actually we've known each other from high school, Alex, my co-founder now. He's worked in like real estate, various real estate, commercial, residential roles for a company in Connecticut. And we reconnected on that, and we're kind of thinking about what's next. We kind of like the private lending space. Both of us were familiar with it. And we were building some technology, and we kind of fell into the lending arena, if you will. We built technology that could value different assets, including single family residential. We had our CTO with us, Alexei. He's still with us today as well, and we built that tech to value what a piece of real estate could be worth today, which is much easier, and a lot of people do it. We also built something that could value what that same single family or a small multifamily could be worth with some value add in it, some budget and some construction work. So that was the crux of the software that we use today was built in 2018. We were beta testing it and we liked it, but we didn't really like the software market for it per se. And so we started, trialing lending ourselves. and it kind of grew from there. I think we lived through in the past, whatever it's been, 5 years or so, through so many turbulent times. I mean, maybe that's normal. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it
Feels
was,
like if it's not normal, it's become normal.
it's become normal. I agree.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the speed of everything has just
Yeah.
increased tremendously, right? Like things are just kind of up and down. Markets are up and down in a span of days.
Mhm.
Obviously technology is gangbusters, with AI and other things that are out there. It's only just increasing. But yeah, today we have New Silver is a, full service non-bank lender for real estate investors, right? We have the sort of the standard product set. Ground up construction is one of our stronger competitive products. Fix and flip, the DSCR, 30-year loan. We're piloting some small balance commercial products as well. And we do everything in a fairly tech-enabled way where, again, the software that we built originally helps on the front end. Borrowers can go through some self-service, get pricing, get terms, see what it is that they can potentially qualify for with us so that they're not having to, waste their time with, emailing or talking to salespeople before they know what they can get. And then if they like what they see, then they'll talk, we have a full sales team, just like everyone else, I believe. And they'll talk to our loan originators and, get more details, get their questions answered, get the full service white glove treatment that we give everybody, and then hopefully move on to appraisal, closing, and everything else there. And then we do the servicing and sort of, again, also in a tech-enabled way, draw management, other things that we've enabled, through our portal. Um, yeah, we hope to help people to a successful exit.
So, Kirill, what makes your company stand apart? What makes you different? I know you've mentioned tech-enabled way, but maybe expand upon that a little bit and how
Sure.
that makes you guys different from what everybody else is doing.
Sure. I think one word that we've kind of coalesced around as a team at New Silver is convenience. Technology enablement is great, right? But tech in itself is not the end all.
Yeah.
Technology, in some cases, could make things less convenient, right?
Yeah.
We think, and what we're kind of our North Star when we're thinking about building stuff, like how can we make it more convenient? And sometimes it's doing less technology, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes it's, enabling a human interaction in that process, at that point in that process, instead of building a technology. So it's not just about the tech, but I think overall convenience is our key word, right? And so what does that actually mean? Well, it means this ability to self-service if you want to, right? If you don't want to, you can, ask a question, call us up. I mean, all of the sort of the traditional methods are available. But if you want to get pricing, if you want to get terms, if you want to understand what your loan could be like based on the project that you have in your mind, you could do that, right? So it's that option is there. It's the convenience if you're doing the second, third, or 10th loan with us, without having to, re-enter, resend us a ton of stuff. Everything is already there. You're just kind of updating to your latest project, right? It's sort of the history. It's seeing your total budget, how well you're doing on the draws, your all of your sort of different construction management tasks. It's on, and then for this is for the borrower, right? And then for both of us, the processing and underwriting team and the borrower, it's the speed, right? It's how fast we can process and underwrite the documents, approve the documents. That is a convenience, obviously, to the borrower, so they don't have to wait and go back and forth, right? In the next 30 to 60 days, we already have this, but it's borrowers don't see this feature right now. But in the next 30 to 60 days, they will. There's going to be on our in our portal where they upload docs right now. We have AI that's already enabled that basically lets our processors quickly check the validity of the document. But it's still a human doing it. It's just AI assisted, right? We're rolling out something that will help on the borrower side as well. So when they upload that doc, they'll see immediately, is there something wrong with this document? Is it I don't know, the wrong document? Is it not readable? Is it outdated? Are we missing another document, et cetera, so that they could then quickly, make that decision. But it's not an AI, a fully AI or a fully tech-enabled process. It's an AI assisted, right? They could still say, no, this is the correct doc, and then and then our processors will review it and make sure it's correct. If it's correct, great. If not, we'll contact the borrower and get the correct one. So I think it's all about, again, that convenience where this, I think the speed is what I hear is what a lot of
Yeah.
people want, right? And a lot of people want self-service. Not everybody. A lot of people want full service where they talk to a person right away. And we have both options. So again, it's just kind of thinking about like what do our people want? We build the tech. And I think that's a big difference in how, some companies who sort of buy the technology off the shelf, some of our competitors who do that. And that's great too. I mean, any tech enablement is good, but folks who buy things off the shelf, it's sort of the other way around, right? They have to adopt their process to what they've bought because somebody built like a generic, software, and now they've got to,
Yeah.
processize it for them, right? With us, we actually just had this call today. We have, a weekly technology call. It's our business side that talks to our clients and that, talks to our processing teams, et cetera. They're the ones driving the direction of that innovation and that building of the technology. So we think
That's
that makes it best for everybody.
Well, that's really handy. Like you said, a lot of companies are just they're using somebody else's software, so they can't do anything about it. They have to it has to meet that where you guys can actually manipulate it. You can change it, you can add things, you can go, this is what's working for our customers today, this is what's not working, let's make these changes. A couple of things that really, the convenience is huge, the speed is really big. I mean, if I know by using your service I can actually close on that property quickly, that may allow me to actually win versus somebody else that comes in with maybe a slightly lower offer but can close quickly. They're going to potentially beat me if that could be the deciding factor. And a lot of times it is. Hey, you can close quickly. Sure, we'll take your offer. Surety of close is big. The ability to self-serve, I can see that being huge. I mean, there's sometimes some days I just don't even want to talk to people. Other days I do, and I need my handheld. So the ability to have both can be really big too. You mentioned several times this human assisted with AI. My question, and this is maybe just peeking into the future, maybe you don't have an answer to this right now, but will AI take over to where you don't have to have a lot of that stuff human assisted, or do you feel like that's always got to be a component of it?
It's a great question. I think about a lot. It depends on the business, right? If we're talking about probably our business, I'm kind of guesstimating that it'll have some human assistance for maybe not forever, right? But for the foreseeable future, because there is a lot of customization, there is a lot of niche and unique situations that, today I don't know that AI is there. Well, maybe the speed of innovation is going so quick that maybe I'm wrong on the timing. Maybe it's not 5 or 10 years. Maybe it's 2 years. I don't know because it's just moving so quickly, right? But
Yeah.
I think in a lot of businesses and other businesses where it's a little more cookie cutter or it's a little less, we're also dealing with, somebody's business operations with a lot of money at stake, right? So
Yep.
there is that there is that as well. If we're talking about somebody, I don't know, doing something routine and then they're paying $50 for it, well, maybe that makes sense to have fully AI done, right? And then it's not a huge deal if 1 in 100,000 times it's not correct, right? We don't want any we want zero in 100,000 incorrect, right? We want it
Yeah.
all perfectly done. We want to give people the human interaction to explain things, right? It's not just, our process is pretty customized. There's exceptions done on underwriting all the time, right? There's unique situations that borrowers face and can explain. And, I don't think AI is at that point to like fully run that process. But in other areas, I think it will be very soon.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how this all evolves over the next, like you said, it could be 2 years, but even over the next, 10, 20 years, like how this all evolves and what it can take over. I mean, I think it's exciting. It's maybe a little intimidating, but it's definitely exciting to see where it'll go. Um, how what you say that real estate investors need to think like tech entrepreneurs. What is that about? Why do you think that?
I think that everybody needs to get as familiar as they can with technology and spend the effort to understand a couple of key tools that will help them in any walk of life in business, right? And definitely in real estate investing, just because, and what this is one of the reasons I like this, residential single family investment market overall is because there's so much data available, right? Data is public for the most part. It's available in the public domain at no additional cost often. And so I think investors that are taking this seriously and are in it for the long term, I think they could do their business better by using some tools, right? They don't have to be a tech expert. I think there's consumer facing tools that are out there that are easy to use and yeah, and that's why I think, I think everybody needs to do as much as they can to get familiar with the technologies that are kind of becoming our everyday go-tos for many different things.
Yeah. It's amazing what is out there. And as we've taken over management and brought it in-house in our business, just seeing how much more is available. In fact, this is for serving our investors. We've had an investor portal for a while, but we've wanted to just have more data and graphs and things to present to them. And so we had a company that built out a whole system to now every single month I can just go in there and I can grab different charts and different statistics and the things that we want to provide to our investors really quickly and provide that in an easy form for them to see it. And that's just AI technology that allows us to do that. It's super interactive, easy to provide for the investors to be able to see. Gives a totally different experience than what we were previously providing. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I think any tech enablement, again, I'm not saying everyone has to, create their own software. Using stuff that's available off the shelf is totally fine. But
mhm.
things like an investor portal, right? I think people who are not utilizing it are probably losing out on some investors, my guess, right? Because
Yeah, we're
because
making
people,
mistakes.
yeah, right.
That's what drove me, Kirill, to use an investor portal. Is I had a property that I was communicating monthly to my investors, and everybody would get blind CC'd, and I found out that somehow throughout the months, several people got off of the list on that blind CC, and so they weren't actually getting emails for about 3 months in a row. Uh, I don't know. I can't remember exactly how many. It was like a handful of investors didn't get any emails 3, 4 months in a row. And I said, that this has got to change. Like I can't have a system that makes mistakes like that. And so that's what drove me to use an investor portal simply because I want to make sure everybody's being served. I can't do something like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think if you think about, losing a couple of investors, right? What is the cost behind acquiring new ones to replace them,
Hmm.
everything else associated? Because they may, if they didn't get the email, who knows what they're thinking, right? So
Yeah.
I think any interaction, I think anything that makes it convenient for people, right? And a lot of things are easily available, thankfully nowadays. Like some years back, I mean, think like technology was more expensive, it was clunkier, it was just harder to implement things and integrate things. Now, if you look at newer items like CRMs and that kind of stuff, right? Investor portal. marketing tools, that kind of stuff is widely available and
Yeah.
oftentimes not too expensive and not too hard to stand up. So
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's way more user friendly. I'm not a big, I just tech has never been my big thing. And so how it's changed and developed has made it so much easier for me because it's just, I don't want to take the time to sit there and learn complicated systems, and these technologies and learn all these crazy, I got to manipulate it this way and this way and this way. We're now today, it's like, it's just so user friendly for so many of these programs. So I'm assuming New Silver is the same, where I can just go onto your website and exactly what to do. I don't have you and I don't have to jump on a video call and then I have to go through a tutorial and then another tutorial and then finally I can maybe figure out how to type my name in properly. That's so powerful now.
yeah, no, absolutely. And that's why we're building this convenience, where when I talk to the tech team, it's always, my thing is always like, less is more, right? Let's,
Mhm.
because sometimes they'll say like, we want to collect this information or that information. That means the user has to type in, these other things, go through an additional step, whatever. I'm always like, hey, we could always collect it later. I think our goal right now is collect, the minimum amount that we need to kind of start the process, show people what pricing and terms they could qualify for. And then from there, if it's moving forward, we'll have a conversation and whatever else we need to do, we do. So yeah, I mean, I think we try to make it as simple as possible.
Kirill, let's talk a little bit about the companies you've built and been able to sell. And I just want to maybe lean on a couple key things that you felt were paramount to your success. Maybe habits that you had. Maybe it's just breakthroughs, mindsets, anything like that. So maybe break down, two or three kind of keys to how you were able to successfully build, grow these businesses, exit them, build obviously New Silver now. What was it for you?
I think it's a combination of hard work, getting in at the right time and the right, into the right place, and having a big enough market that, that you could grow in that market. I think it's a combination of those things. None of my companies have been, market creating, right? So if we're thinking about like, I don't know, Facebook or someone like that. I mean, not I don't even know if they're considered because there was some, well, there's MySpace or
MySpace, yeah, they were probably
right.
uh,
But I guess like Facebook would be considered one because they actually like made the big impact, or Google for search or someone like that. Yes, there were others, but that's who we think of as a brand.
mhm.
So if you're, obviously if your goal is like, hey, I'm gonna, create this like brand new thing that nobody has, or maybe it exists, but it's not mass market, that's one area that I haven't been successful in, nor have I really tried, right? Like the businesses I came into were to an extent existing markets, but they were growing, right? Like the IT company, computersport.com was not the first. We certainly had competitors. We founded in 2006. And but the model I knew at that time, the model of providing IT was shifting, right? So we came in at a time when remote support was not really a thing, right? It was nascent.
Mhm.
Cloud stuff that we think of now as like ubiquitous, like we don't think of software being delivered from, in our browser today. That's normal. When we started, that did not exist, right? Like the software, if you wanted to use software, you installed it on your desktop, or it was installed on a company server, and you used it off of a server, probably not inside of a browser. But if you remember, like
Yep.
the installed software, right? Like it's almost like non-existent anymore,
Yeah.
right? Uh, and I remember at the time it was like people were wondering like, is browser delivered software going to ever replace? Like, there's no way.
There's no way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's never going to replace these, clunky like Windows, things that we have on our desktop. But lo and behold, we're here today, and everything is in the browser pretty much, or it launches from a browser at least, right?
Hmm.
So I think we came in, so like that was like a shift in the service delivery. And then, the software company I had was really just a spin out and it was helping us do our business. I think that's another great thing. If you're running whatever business you're running, right? Real estate investing, for example, and you see that, hey, this thing I'm doing here, I'm having to do it on a spreadsheet. I'm having to, go to 5 different places to get one thing done, and it's really inconvenient. It takes me a long time. Or this thing is really, really expensive, and why is it that expensive? I don't understand, right? And if you have that desire to, to change that because you
Yeah.
see a real problem, right? That's another thing. Like you can, essentially build or improve what's there today. That's another great way of starting a company.
Yeah.
Maybe even the best.
Anytime you can disrupt the market,
Right, right.
and create a solution to, if you have a problem, it's likely other people have a problem. Just ask around. I
Exactly.
mean, that's probably your best
Yeah,
thing. Just ask other people that are in the industry. Like,
right.
what's your
Ask
biggest
other
problem?
people. Yeah, it probably makes sense to do some research, look around, and
Hmm.
even if somebody else is doing something similar, but if you think you have a better idea
Yeah.
and you have the capacity and the desire to start a tech company per se, for example, then why not, right?
Yeah.
I think what's also great nowadays with like Chat GPT and other AI tools is you could do real like management consulting style research. Like I've
Hmm.
actually just seen somebody, this was somebody on X posting this, and I kind of was like, wow, that's cool. I tried it. It was somebody posted like, hey, companies like McKinsey, these large management consulting companies, they're going to become obsolete. And because now you could take and create this, like strength, weaknesses, opportunities report and threats, the SWOT analysis, right? Just as an example, they're using, there's a couple of others, but just as one of them, you
Hmm.
could create that in like 2 minutes, using AI and not pay anything extra. And they would charge, whatever, hundreds of thousands of dollars for something like this potentially, right? So I actually tried this out. I took the prompt that they had written, and it was something like you're a consultant at McKinsey, like act like you're a consultant at McKinsey, and here's like replace like your industry, and I put like private credit or something. I was playing around with it, and I
Wow.
did I used a couple of different AI tools like the new Grok that's part of Elon Musk's X, and they have that new model 4.0 or Grok 4, they call it, I guess. And then I use Chat GPT just to compare and like use the deep research capabilities. It took a little bit of time. Grok, I think it was faster. And it came back with, you know, a full industry analysis with citations and opportunities and weaknesses and all of that stuff. And that's absolutely crazy, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how long that would, I probably wouldn't have even tried doing it without it,
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Think of how
Yeah.
long that actual research would have taken. Well, and
Yes,
that's why people pay companies big money to do that type of thing. But if you can just type it into this AI system, wow,
right.
that's talk
I
about
know it's
disruption.
absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So if your listeners are thinking about starting a company, right, that's another great tool. Like I think with AI tools, LLMs, right, it's important to write a nice prompt, right? Like what are you asking and give it all the details that you could possibly think of. You could improve it. You could even ask the AI to help you write the prompt, right? But I think like writing something complete with all the minute detail in there, um, it'll give you back something that is amazing. Like for the most part, in the 99.9% of the times, if it's a business idea, like for me, I'm always researching new things for business. After doing this research, I stop. that idea because I see that it's either
Yeah.
not feasible, it already exists in multiple ways, and there's no reason for me to continue, which is great, right? Just saved me so much time
Yeah.
in looking around or trying to build something, right?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. I think for anybody who's young and figuring out what they're gonna do, I mean, you got to learn AI. You've got to learn technology. I just think it's a no-brainer. I I'm like talking to my kids and I'm going, we got to get them into AI, just understanding how to utilize it. There's so much good that you can do with these different tools that are out there. So it's amazing with technology what you can do. Where's New Silver going? What are you guys trying to do? What's the goal for New Silver, and how are you gonna play in the industry?
Yeah, well, we're continuing to sort of expand our footprint. One thing that we're doing now is we're piloting this commercial real estate product, which is, we've never tried commercial real estate lending,
Mm,
and what we've seen in the market is in a certain size of a project,
mm-hmm.
call it like 1 to, I don't know, 15 million, in that range somewhere, maybe even 1 to 10 million, something like that. There is some, underserved space, right?
Oh, big
Banks have
time.
kind of, yeah, banks have pulled back, and then larger banks are not interested in a loan that small for them,
Yeah.
right? It's tougher. Banks have tougher underwriting. If they haven't pulled back, they have tougher guidelines. So we're trying to, create a bridge product, that would be, we like with construction or without, sort of a fairly short-term product. So that's one thing we're trying right now. We'll see what the demand is like. We'll see how that goes.
I
We're
think
building.
especially on the commercial side, in that call it 1 to 10 million. If you're an out of state investor, there is very few products available for you to get into. So to be able to disrupt that space, that'd be huge.
Yeah, yes, and we're, right now it's pretty low tech. It's just, kind of, we have essentially a person that is an expert in that space, and they can talk and figure out. I think commercial real estate also is potentially tougher to like build technology around. I don't know
Mm,
yet for sure because it is so, it's so varying, right? And it's
yeah,
so,
fragmented.
yeah, every
Yeah,
building, like every situation
yeah,
is just different. So we'll see if that needs to be tech enabled or it needs to be lower tech than what we have now. We have some, we have some basic stuff for it, but yeah, so that's one exciting thing. I always love to like expand into adjacent markets when possible, when makes sense, right? I think this is
yep.
an adjacent market to us, and we also get a ton of inquiries, right, from people that come to us for, for the loans that we do today, and we've always said we can't do this, um, but now now hopefully we can, and then yeah, continue to improve service, continuing to grow our origination, continue to build the convenience in with technology and everything else. So yeah, just kind of moving on, moving up.
Love it. Kirill, what's a mistake that you've made, and how can our listeners learn from it?
I think just going back to like doing the research before trying
Mm,
something, right? I think that now that it's so easy, as we just talked about, this is definitely a mistake I've made many times over, and
yeah.
thinking that I had this brilliant idea, and it turns out that 100 other people did as well, and it's already like $10 a user a month or something like that somewhere else, and not thinking things through. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that one just comes to mind all the time, and that's why I'm like super cognizant of, because we all have, a limited 24 hours a day, right? Like none of us have figured out how to expand that day to that 25th hour. I was just talking to someone, like they're like, if there's a startup that could do that, that's what I want. But I don't know. So, just spending your time as wisely and as effectively as possible. I'm sure people have hobbies, they have families, kids, all that stuff, depending on for who, but for me, it's pretty important. So, I
But
think
that makes it even more important to spend your time focused and
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. Like, you want to, like, for me personally, again, like, I love to work, but it's like, all right, do I work, 9 to 9 and then go to sleep and not see my kids?
yeah,
That's not something I'm willing to do, right now. So,
yeah,
I think finding that, like, how do you work as efficiently as possible so that you can open up your time and spend it with your loved ones or
yeah.
hobbies or, whatever else you want to do.
Love it. Love it. Absolutely. Um, what's a favorite book you can recommend to our listeners?
So right, I mean, I was thinking about it a little bit. I have a few favorite books, but right now, top of mind is Naval Ravikant's Almanack, the Almanack it's called. And Naval Ravikant, I don't know if your listeners know of him. He's um, he's a founder of Angel List, which is, this is what I know him for. I think he's had some other companies prior and post as well. He's like a prolific investor and he's been on, a bunch of shows like Joe Rogan and things like that. So he's a big thinker. There's this book, The Almanac.
Yep.
It's a compilation of his tweets, podcasts, thoughts, etc. But it flows really, really well. And like the stuff he says, it's like, I don't know, it just so resonates with me so much. So I'm still going through it, but it's top of my list right now.
Yeah. Love it. I've heard that's a great one. Last one. What are your three pillars of wealth creation?
Sure. So, I think wealth creation, yeah, it's obviously like, hey, what is wealth, right? I think it means different things, right? Some people kind of refer, are you rich? Are you affluent? Are you wealthy? I don't know. I don't really know the distinctions between those things. So I think well, money to me is an enabler of doing things that I want to do, and an
Mhm.
optionality of, again, doing the stuff that I want, right? Like, is it, do you have to, are you able to afford, to live where you want to live, or maybe have a vacation home, or or are you able
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
afford to work less? Are you able to afford retirement? Are you able to help your kids or your loved ones with things that they need? So yeah, it's but some people obviously have other ideas. So I think wealth creation is, I think it's the ability to, to know what you're looking for, and then a plan to get there, right? I think a lot of people, and this thing resonates with me a lot, is it's compounding, right? So it's having your, it's being consistent, right? What is compounding? It's really just, the ability to keep your investment for some period of time. If you think, like, I love the US stock market, for example, right? It's like, you know, Warren Buffett, like, how many people have talked about this already, and a lot of people still don't follow this, right? If you just put your money into like S&P 500, or
Yeah.
the Nasdaq 100, right?
Yep.
Whatever, or combination thereof, that's probably over a compounding period, right? That's probably going to outperform a bunch of other things that you're trying to do,
Yeah.
and you're not like an expert in those things, right? So I think, like, if somebody has extra money that they can invest, right? Aside from kind of having your focus where you're like your whether it's your company, multiple companies, real estate investments, right? Those are the things like you're doing during the day. Then your other money that you can put aside, right? That needs to go into something that, in my opinion, that is able to give you that long-term compounded return that you don't have to sort of think about on a daily basis, right? And that, like, at least I think this, right? I think the US economy is like, whether it has some slowdowns here and there, but on the long-term horizon, I think it's unstoppable. I think it's the best country and the best economy in the world, in
Yeah.
and for
Agreed.
the medium and the long term.
Yep. Yep. Agreed. Awesome. Well, Kirill, look, really appreciate it. New Silver, how can people connect with you guys?
Oh yeah, just our website, newsilver.com, or they can look me up on LinkedIn if anyone has any questions. Maybe we could put a link to that. I'm happy to, chat there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get that on the show notes. We'll get the link, the LinkedIn link on the show notes. People can reach out to you. and connect. And man, I really appreciate it. Any last words that you want to give to our listeners? Any last thoughts?
Yeah, just keep being out there, keep trying things, and much success to everyone.
Awesome. Kirill, again, really appreciate you. You have a fantastic rest of the day.
You as well. Thanks for having me, Todd.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being a loyal listener. Say, I would love to have you go on to our Facebook page and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Go on to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review. Don't forget to subscribe. Your rating and review just helps us push this out to more and more people and continue to grow our audience and hopefully positively affect a ton of people out there that really need this and want this. So the other thing I've got for you is a free ebook on my website. So go on to venturedproperties.com, and download our free ebook on real estate and on syndication. And I've got some data points in there, some really good stuff for you. So I'd love to have you take a look at that. It's free. I'm not expecting anything from it. And also, look, if you want some help in multifamily, want some help learning, growing, getting your business off the ground, I would love to talk to you about what it would look like to work with me potentially and see if that's a good fit. So you can go to coachwithdex.com and check that out. And we can definitely have a call. Thanks a lot for listening. You make it a fantastic rest of the day. I'll catch you on the next episode.